Um, so, um, thank you guys for coming. Um, this is now our second lecture, and we are happy to have Ian uh, giving it. Um, it's a treat, just like the last lecture was. I think you guys will learn a lot from Ian. Those of you who are on the Zoom now and also viewing on YouTube later. Um, Ian is quite the interesting guy. Him and I worked closely together during our thesis year of architecture school, and he knows a lot of people in this call. But for those of you who don't know him, he's a cool dude who will have a lot of interesting things to say. And again, as we've like kind of discussed, this group is about all different avenues of thinking for whatever you're doing, and this is just one of them. So hopefully you can learn something from it and see, how many different unique takes on what we do. How many there are, and I think this will be a really solid lecture, and I'm excited to hear about it. Just some announcements. We have uh, we have another lecture this Thursday at 7 by Ben Pinnell. That'll be a good one for sure. We just had our admin meeting this past week that went really well. There are like 10 or so of us just kind of discussing the future of the group, and kind of the direction we want to go. And ultimately, we didn't really come to a conclusion, which I think was a good thing. But there were many things that we discussed in regards to how we'll be continuing. Um, so there's that. We also, one thing we're starting, we'll kind of start this week, but we're not, we still got to figure it out. We're going to have kind of an open discourse at the end of the lecture, where you guys can not only ask questions, but just start conversations. And I think Kazuki will help guide that this lecture. But Ian, of course, is involved, and his lecture will prompt some things to talk about. But I guess what I'm saying is, for future lectures, we're going to try to build a more structured time for discourse, so that this can actually be not a lecture, but a learning opportunity for all of us, and an opportunity to say things that you want to say, as opposed to just a Q&A. So I think that's it. I don't know if anyone else has anything, but we've got a lot of lectures coming up. There will be more, I think, than 14 over the next few weeks. So we've got a lot of interesting people talking about a lot of interesting things, and I'm hoping we don't really end these lectures, and we can kind of branch out and get more people from different areas and different disciplines talking about what they're interested in. So I guess I'll just let Ian start. You know, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you very much. All right, let's fucking do this shit. Okay, where is share screen? There we go. Okay. God damn. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. We're cool. Cool. Yeah, I don't need this. Okay, that's good. All right. I don't know where this is gonna go. I generally have an outline of something to say, of something I want to prove, or an argument, or just a message to get across. And with an end goal in mind, I can structure my words, the slides, to kind of take you on a little journey to just how I think and how I do things. And, when I was in architecture school, that was easy because it was always about architecture and it was always with architecture's professors and students. And, you know, at the end of the day, it kind of had to be about architecture, even though I didn't want to talk about architecture. This is not going to be about architecture. Architecture will be part of it because it's part of who I am and it's what I know and it's what I do and it's part of my work. But ultimately, it's not about architecture and it never is. And so, Seth, we we titled this typical stuff because I always talk about the same thing. I'm always drawing the same thing. Can't escape it. I don't want to escape it. And so I'm going to cover a bunch of different topics. Well, no, I'm going to cover one topic a bunch of different ways. And so on the screen, you'll see, can I get rid of this thing? Oh, there we go. You'll see images of things that I've made. And I'm not going to talk about them. Well, I might, but I probably won't. And kind of my last pinup, I had a bunch of random crap on the wall. And, one of the reviewers asked me, can you talk about your work a little more? Like, I love the way you're talking about, but can you just talk about like the work itself? And, she points at this one. And I'm like, it's a wheelbarrow. It's a wheelbarrow. I cut it, I found it, I put it in this shape. What more can I say about a wheelbarrow? Am I going to say that it looks like a man, an old man? Is that really that relevant? And my point is that I don't make things to talk about the things I make. I make things to talk about other stuff. The important things I find meaning in, right? And generally, I talk about this through beauty and through goodness and through actions and through doing and through speaking and through listening. And so, yeah, the work on the screen is mostly so you can look at something and you can tune me out. I feel like I was supposed to say something else about this. Guess it doesn't really matter that much. Um, this is a screenshot from the music video of the Beatles song "The Day in a Life." And this specific screenshot is from a portion of the song where Paul pretty much told the full orchestra to, all right, each of you, I want you to play whatever note, whatever sequence of notes you want, but I want you to build to your loudest and highest note. And so there's this chaos of everyone's just going ham and doing whatever they're gonna do, and then boom, oblivion. So that's what I'm talking about today, right? Because if you think about what we do as students, as individuals, we're just doing our own little thing, trying to figure our way out, trying to find our path, get to the end our suffering, you know? And so, right, like in jazz music, the basis of jazz music is that there are no mistakes, right? You can make a mistake, quote unquote mistake, but then it resolves. And so generally this is done in a certain amount of time. So we're in this constraint of time. But what I want you to join me in is the belief that time, whether it's real or not, is kind of irrelevant in this type of resolution that we seek. We just spent the day counting. We made it to about 436 or something. That was the highest. We were trying to get to 8,000, which is pretty ambitious of us. And so it's like, what unit of time do we really occupy? Is it a nanosecond? Is it a second? Is it this moment? Like what are we really measuring when we say time other than a location, other than a coordinate? right? And what I'm talking about is not that there is no time, but that we are constantly occupying everything all the time. Just, I had this discussion with Nash Human, who is a Catholic, and we were talking about God. And I was trying to, at the time, I was still trying to convince people of my beliefs, right? So I was trying to convince them of how the here and now is eternal and it never ends. And this is the only place you can find God and faith and hope and love and beauty and on and on and on and on. And he's like, Ian, what are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about, Ian? It doesn't make any sense. Now is finite. Now ends. And I'm like, is it ending, Nash? Is it ending? And we're waiting for it to end, and it doesn't end. And so generally I tell stories. I try to, make the things I'm thinking, or no, make that I'm experiencing comprehensible, but that is not on the agenda for today. This is going to be more raw, more real, because I don't want to speak. I wish I could escape speaking and explaining and rational thought and all these things that just bog me down, these preoccupations, right, that remove me from now. Are you listening? Right? Are we listening? And as I explained my faith to my parents and my friends, right? My dad had this question. He's like, because I'm pretty much arguing for intuitive goodness, right? In architecture, right? And I came to these beliefs through architecture a little bit because there's so much thought pertaining to beauty, pertaining to what is good, right? We relate our decisions to other decisions that have been made, and we're like, oh, this is good because of this. That's good because of this. Precedents, right? And precedents are great for learning, but they're not a rationalization. You cannot rationalize your work to yourself. You can't do it because when you rationalize, when you think through things, there are 10 million other ways to think about it that make it wrong. And you can look at your Rhino models, you can look at your drawings, be like, oh, oh, that's off. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, it's so bad. And you can do this all day. And it's not going to get you, well, it will get you somewhere because, right, there aren't any mistakes. And so I'm not saying what we've done is bad. I'm not saying that I've forsaken my life because I've been thinking so much. What I'm saying is, from this point on, from now, can I remind myself that it's okay, that it's going to be okay, that it's all right. We're just making things. Don't get stuck up in your drama, right? We love drama. You know, we think humans are sick. We're sick. Oh, I will talk about this one. This is great. I don't know what this is. China, Ethiopia, Sudan, Sri Lanka, Iran. I think this is a river. El Salvador, Eastern Africa. El Salvador again. I don't know what this is. It's great. But yeah, we love drama and it hurts us, but we love it. And so a big aspect of my talk, or well, of these words that I'm saying, is going to be the aspect of letting go. And what does letting go mean? Right? What is the paradox of accepting yourself, of loving yourself versus growth? Right? It's not that everything is an illusion. It's that our sense of those things is the illusion. There's nothing wrong with anger. It's my attachment to anger, which is unholy. Right? I've been working an architecture job, a firm job for the past 4 months or whatever it is. And a lot of these drawings are from that. And a big struggle of the work for me, it's all these things, oh, I can't be creative. I don't have freedom. I don't, I don't like it. What am I doing? I'm above this. I'm beneath this. I don't know Revit. Everyone's dumb. I'm dumb. And it's all these things. But at the end of the day, what frustrates me the most is my own frustration, right? My anger pisses me off. Why am I so angry, right? This is what we said. I was like, oh, why am I so angry? Oh, why am I so sad? Right? So it's our attachments to these emotions that bog us down. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to hate your work. Let's move on. Blah, blah, blah. Drama's over. Don't get so fucking stuck up in it. It's not that important. And when I say everything's not that important, I mean it is so fucking important. Right? Every action I take, I want to take it with my fullest intent, the fullest embodiment of life. I want my soul to be in every action. Right? I'm a very serious guy. Very serious. No joking around here, No jokes, no laughing, only crying. And that's a tough way to live. It's not very it's not very light, right? And it's easy to get lost in the words, but what I'm seeking with my actions and my meditation, my breathing and my stretching and my eating is freedom. Freedom from these things that weigh us down, right? And in this end, it's the attachment. And this is where the letting go comes from, right? How do you love without desire? How do we do these things? I don't know. We just do them, right? Pick your nose, chop the wood. Just do, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. What are we doing? I'm talking, right? I'm listening to myself just as much as you're listening to me, right? The only reason I'm speaking is because somewhere in my heart, I desire to speak because I don't know why. Maybe because it helps me figure things out, a whole bunch of different things. I don't know. And so the self-love and the growth aspect, self-love is not complacent, right? Self-love is very active, right? The main message of Christianity, minus the God aspect, is forgiveness. Forgive yourself. You are forgiven, right? And whatever you have to say about God, that is a beautiful message, right? You are forgiven. It's okay. It's okay. Architecture is not that big of a deal, guys. You're not even doing architecture. You're just making drawings. Okay? It's not that big of a deal. Your professors, they care, but they care about you. The work is secondary. The work is tertiary. It is not, it's only the medium in which we can express ourselves, right? I was not drawn to architecture for some big world aspirations. I mean, I was, right? I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to be Picasso and Einstein. I wanted to be the next person to figure out the next thing. And now I don't. I don't care at all. But I still have a role to play, and there's still things to do, right? And so a big issue with the rational mind is it's not, it rules us. It's a tool. It's a tool to understand life, but it is not our primary, fundamental, instinctual way of being. Right? I'm not even talking about emotions are the primary ones, right? I'm talking about that place in your heart that knows goodness, that looks at your work and says, oh, that's like, oh, yeah, yeah, that's good. Oops, I like that one. I'm like, that's good. Yeah, I like that. And then, then you're like, oh, wait, should I like it? Oh, I don't know. And it's like when you're watching a movie and you're trying to analyze the movie for what it is instead of living with it. And whether you know what I'm saying or not, I know this part of you that knows what I'm saying because it is intrinsic to my belief that we are all one and we are all trying to get back home. We are drawn to art, to architecture, to the people in our lives, to music, to movies, to any form of medium because we can immerse ourselves in it. We can say, no, we don't say anything. We just are that medium, you know? You, there are times when you just forget who you are. You're still you, you're still that something, right? Identity is such a pervasive topic in art because it's elusive. You can't pin it down. You don't know who you are. I'm sorry, you don't know who you are because you're nobody. We're all nobody. And that can be kind of terrifying. I experience a lot of fear, right? Imagine you don't know anything. So you either experience everything in awe or in absolute terror. Constantly reborn, constantly coming into the light, crying, laughing, right? These moments where you forget who you are and you just are. These are the things we're chasing after. It's not some pedantic, pedagogical idea about interior, exterior, whatever, blah, 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 blah. These things are great. I love these things too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on these things. It's just that we need to let go of them because okay, let's say you're like, oh, well, I only care about architecture, whatever. Okay. If you only care about architecture, all right, we can face it with just the lens of architecture. What is the main issue with architecture? The main issue with architecture is we don't like any of the buildings that exist. For the most part, we've figured out architecture. We figured out most of it out. There's a bunch of sustainability shit that, building science stuff that's always going to progress. And there's always going to be new, more aesthetic ideas, cultural things, blah, 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 socioeconomical things, blah, blah, blah. Right. These things are always going to be changing and we'll always change with it. But for the most part, architecture is a really big deal and not that big of a deal. Because at the end of the day, you live in an apartment and you put shit in it and you either hate yourself or love yourself. And that's the primary source of whether you like the space that you're in. And yes, it's great to be in Rome. It's great to be in these places with beautiful buildings, and it does enhance your life. And I'm not trying to diminish architecture, but what we're doing in school and what we're agonizing over is not architecture, it is ourselves. Because at the end of the day, all we need to do is build things. If you really care about architecture, you just figure out a way to build architecture. Most of us can make a beautiful box that would be a tremendous benefit to society. Right? We're agonizing over just nonsense lines and you know the burden of trying to be Einstein. These are self-inflicted burdens. Let them go. Right? Because only when we let those things go will we be able to come together and say, hey, it's actually pretty lovely out here. Wow, look at the trees. Hey, you know what? Let's be like the Amish and let's fucking build a barn. You know, it's community that we're missing, right? Architecture is always talking about gathering places and communion or whatever, And for a while, I hated these words. It's like, oh, lame, lame. But this, at the end of the day, it's what's important, right? And we go through this angsty stage in architecture where, we kind of dismiss everything that we know is good. And don't forget those things because you know it. You know what's good. Right. In architecture, you learn how to look at everything in a different way. You learn new perspectives. And through learning all these different perspectives, you think you know something. and you still don't know anything. The other day we made biscuits, and we made the biscuits. You laminate it, butter, yeah, and uh, and then we watched it bake. We watched it crisping up the whole time, the whole 30 minutes. It was awesome. And then, we're looking at it and we're talking about the top bun and the bottom and like how it's crispy and it's golden brown. And I have this thought about, I have this stupid thought about which one is the top. What is the top? This is architecture in its essence as it stands. What is the top? Is that a line? you know, is that a wall? And it's a great game. I love this game, but we're very attached to this game for some reason. I don't know why. It's not, it's a fun game. These things are fun. Everything's very interesting, and somehow our interests, going through the rabbit hole, we get lost in it and it comes to torment. But anyways, the top bun. What was it? Oh, don't forget why it's the top bun. It's because it's relatable and understanding. Architects are very simultaneously have a good understanding of beauty and life, but also are very detached from actual living. You got to be able to go out and walk around and not think about architecture. It's very important. And I'm saying this not as a ridicule, but this is coming from where I was too, or where I am sometimes. And in my school during school, I didn't do anything other than architecture. I forsook everything was forsaken for architecture. You know, myself, friends. I would work all day, nonstop. We got stuff to do. We got to go. You know, come on. It's so dumb, so stupid. And because really all we need to do is convince other people that architecture is meaningful, right? This is architecture. The problems with architecture are not problems with architecture. The problems with the issues we deal with in architecture are problems with society. Are you changing the people around you? Are you listening to the people around you? Do you listen to your parents? Do your parents understand what you're saying? You know, do they know what you're talking about? Or you're just like, oh, you don't even talk to them. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I know I talked to my parents in college, but not about architecture because I was like, you guys don't get it. You don't fucking get it. You don't get it. I know, you know, and it's really silly. And it's a huge issue with all academia. It's walls, it's barriers, things that we just need to bring down because you can't build something on your own. You can build a house. I don't know, we can build houses one by one, take over the nation. Sure. I'm down with that. That makes sense. But ultimately, the problems with society are there's just no faith. It's placed, right? No one is going to go out of their way to make something beautiful. It's just too much hassle. And it's not really, right? We know this. We know you can make economically efficient things that are also beautiful. We know this. It's true. But still, from a high level, you know, billion feet out, these things aren't that important or to society, you know. And so those are the things we're trying to change. That's the importance of this group. We're trying to build a foundation. We're trying to say, hey, you care about this. We care about this. We're all in this together. Let's get more people. Let's reach out. Let's spread love, right? Love is unstoppable. Can't stop love. Impossible. That's why we're all headed for that singularity, that single note of oblivion and just peace and beauty, ethereal consciousness, above all those things, above all the noise, there's a place where we exist beyond our bodies. Sounds weird, but I promise it's true. It's a place where we exist beyond all of existence. And it's everywhere around us, and we're already there. That's the best part. Ah, that's the best part. We're already there. We're already there. And it's tough. How do you get to some place that you're already in? You know? And it'll drive you nuts. It drives me crazy. How do I get it? Fuck, fuck. I'm already there. Damn it. And it's really hard, but you can't think about it. Or you have to let go of thoughts, right? When I'm thinking, I'm not thinking. I'm just experiencing thought in its most beautiful form. It's just rushing through me. I used to get bogged up on thought. I was like, oh, you're thinking. You're disgusting. You disgusting bastard. You're thinking again. But thinking is great. I mean, but not, there are certain types of thoughts that we know in our heart or in our mind that are not that beautiful thing of inaction, right? My friend, not our, we gossip. We talk about his girl problems, right? We're like always talking about his girl issues, and even if there's not an issue, we'll just find stuff, it's like, oh yeah, or like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, and at some point I was like, dude, we gotta stop talking about this, like this isn't helping you. It's not helping me. Like, how is this helping us? And he's like, but we like it. And unfortunately for us, the things that we like are most of the time the things that we have to get let go of first. And I don't mean throw out everything in your room. Right? I thought I had to move. I thought I had to go to a cave. I was like, fuck, I have to go to a cave. You don't have to go to a cave. But you do have to actively remind yourself that it's okay, which is really hard. Remembering is the hardest time because we all experience this. I know you experience it. I mean, if you ever played a sport, right? Do you consciously kick the soccer ball or do you kick the soccer ball? You just fucking kick it, you know? If you think about catching something, you're probably going to miss, right? And that's what's happening to us constantly. And it's just that over and over again. And you just got to remind yourself. And you just got to say, this isn't what I really want. This isn't what's important. I can let go of, I don't have to torment myself. I don't have to wallow in my pain. And kind of back to the Beatles thing, right? So you can get lost in your own notes. Boom, 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 whatever. I don't know how musical really. And you can get lost in it and you can see, oh, this note sounds horrible. Oh God. And can you get the consciousness, can you have the awareness to zoom out and see this beautiful crescendo? Incredible. It's happening all the time. It's perfect. It's perfect. Look around you. Before, Ian, how can you just look outside? Look outside. I didn't get it for a while. And, I'm not trying to convince you to believe, to have faith. You can't convince yourself. It's just not how it works. I don't seek the disillusionment of myself. I don't want to say goodbye to Ian because I want to. I have to. It's the only thing. It is the only thing I can do, and it's terrifying and I don't know what to do. And I'm just doing whatever I'm doing and hopefully, and reminding myself that it is good and that I have faith and stay here and now. And, be present, and you're part of the crescendo, and at some point we'll get to the oblivion, and everything will be great. And so yeah, this isn't a choice. It happens. It's an awakening. I don't usually like using these words. I don't like saying enlightenment or transcendence because it seems posh, or whatever the word I'm looking for is. Right? It's become, just this mundane thing. Oh, enlightenment. Yeah, Buddha. Oh, divinity, holiness. It's become drab. These words don't mean anything to me. I can't always say to someone, "You are love, I am love, you are me, I am you, we are all one." I can't always say that because sometimes it just sounds, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. Shut up. You know. But when you ask me to speak, when you say, "Hey, Ian, give a lecture," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck," and I don't have anything to say other than this, because this is all that goes in my head if anything is going in my head. And this is my calling, and this is what beckons me, and this is what I must say, and this is the only thing I have to say. What am I going to talk about this? What? I'll talk about your relationship with your mother. You know, yeah. Last week, um, you know, another way to look at this is like, why do you have the people in your life? Do I have architecture in my life because it's formally and critically and intellectually deep and poignant and relates to six different movements of architecture and historical relevance? No. I told my friend this the other day. I was like, I was like, what did I say? We were all together. There's four of us. Me and my partner, him and his partner. And we had just taken, we had done um, fucking, what am I looking for? Personality test, right? His girlfriend had to take it for work, and we all went through it or whatever, and we're comparing our answers, right? And in my head, I'm like, personality exams, I cannot be categorized. I am in no category. I am everything. This is my sick inner voice that is malevolent. And but of course, it was so good because the test wasn't important, but our conversation about the test was, and we learned about ourselves, and we learned about each other. And the best part of it is, I know when you're my best friend, I know everything about you. I know you better than you know yourself. I swear to God, I do. You know me better than I know me. I also know you better than you know you. And so, I knew all of his answers, and I knew what the correct answers were, and I knew what he answered incorrectly. You know, there were pretty much four categories. One was love, one was intellect, one was loyalty, and one was freedom. And so, of course, we're all love primarily. We're all emotional, and you either acknowledge that you're an emotional being, or you pretend that you're, irrational. And so it takes a while for us to accept that. Oh yeah, no, I'm just a love bomb ticking away, just with all the emotions, right? Love is essentially, it's like white light. You got however many, a million different colors, infinite amount of colors, and it all makes one thing. That's what love is. Anger, lust, heart, well, blah, 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 all this stuff. Any adjective. Think of any adjective, boom, love. Us, love. Think between us, love. Um, Sky, love. Food, love. Just look around and just say love after it, and that's love. And so Wes, he's gonna watch this, he's gonna laugh, and insanely intelligent, the smartest person I know. Well, after my sister, Kira, and maybe Wes is probably smarter than my dad. And I'm like, Wes, I don't need you for your intelligence. I don't give a shit about your intelligence, you know? It's so irrelevant to our relationship and to the importance of each other in our lives. So irrelevant. These qualifications that we signify ourselves as are just so irrelevant because they're just such a small part. It's a teeny part of what we are. It's pretty much like saying, oh yeah, this dot, yeah, that's what it's all about, baby. Oh, yep. See what else? I don't know. You know, and it is about this, of course, too. I've never noticed that dot. Whenever it's an aberration of the digital stuff. And so yeah, think about what you're doing, you know? And well, actually, you probably thought about what you're doing already enough. That's kind of my point, isn't it? Yeah. Also, the thing with me talking is the thing with me speaking and not listening to, or the thing with me speaking and not knowing what I'm saying is that we're all trying to figure out together. Like, think about it. Your entire life has led to this ramble. Your entire life, the entire cosmos has led to this point. It's got to be important, right? It can't be nothing. Come on, what are we doing here? Were we just messing around? Yeah, we were just messing around. And yeah, and so that hike, or we went camping for 2 nights, and it was great because you know you kind of camp there, and then you go fishing. But we didn't go fishing, and we wanted to go on a hike, but there were no hikes around us, and so we just walked down the road. We wanted to find water, right? We're like, oh, let's find water. And so we're like, okay, there's a bridge. We drove past a bridge. And I'm like, Wes, that bridge is like 4 miles away. He's like, no, 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 no. It's like pretty close. But I thought there was a store. And I was like, oh, the store. Maybe we can get to the store and have a break there, and then we'll make it to the bridge. And so the moral of the story is sometimes you go and look for a bridge and you come back with 2 cows. And either you can, when you use those cows, you can either think, oh man, we never found the bridge. Or you can think, wow, we've got 2 cows. We saw beautiful mushrooms, numerous mushrooms, just dead snakes. People drove past us waving. We got eggs, $5, like really good eggs. And we ate those eggs the next morning. Oh, yeah. You know, we, for better and for worse, we control our world, right? The Buddhists say desire is the creation, desire is the creator. Desire is the creator. Let go, be desireless. Moksha is the state of desirelessness. You see what you seek. And so work has been difficult because, or work was difficult. It took me a while to let go of the frustration with it. And, it's an ongoing battle, right? These things are just ongoing battles. But recently I've been enjoying it, right? I have this superpower. I've always had the superpower, and I'm very thankful for the superpower. It's also a curse, but it's a pretty good superpower too. Um, the only people that talk to me want to talk to me. Does that make sense? If I come to a school, the only people that talk to me are people that I want to talk to too. You know, so the people that I meet are my best friends. That's it. And It's great. But also, there's always things that are placed in your life that you hate. I have an aunt who I detest, not for personal reasons. Well, I guess there are personal reasons. Um, Maybe I shouldn't say this. Whatever. Okay, who cares? Uh, well, this I probably shouldn't say this. Okay, let's go back to work. The same analogy though. Sometimes you welcome things into your life and they're hard to love. There are people in your life that are hard to love. And you say to yourself, you can either say to yourself, I hate you, or how do I expand my heart and love you? How do I open my heart and love you? Incredibly difficult to do. And so that's my burden with work. It's this thing in my life that's just like, oh, I don't fuck, you know? Right? We're romantics as architect, as dramatic, romantic, loving people, artistic, creative, passionate people. We what was I gonna say? I don't know. As architects, passionate, loving people, we what's the time looking for? This is one of those things where like, small thing, more tangible thing, like, oh, my parents do this all the time. They forget something. They come into the room, like, what was I looking for? I don't know what you're looking for. Or they'll forget a word and they'll be like, oh, what's that word? Or they'll forget a name and drives them nuts. It's like real like pain for them, It's real like it's like the end of the world, It's like, oh my God, I have dementia, and what am I gonna do? Or like for me, I used to forget stuff and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. All my intelligence is gone. It's over. You know, everything was the end of the world. And it is that way still, but in a lighter sense, we are where we are, Oh, we're romantics. We're romantics. And so I used to be romantic for manual labor. That was my shit, dude. Manual labor. Fuck yeah, dude. Manual labor. Let me be a bricklayer. Let me be this. Let me be that. I went to New Zealand for a year as a gap year, and I wanted to work with like cows and like milk cows and like get shit on and like I did everything. I was a fucking house cleaner. I was a dishwasher, just normal stuff. Honestly, I didn't have to be in New Zealand, And I worked on farms, egg farms, just random stuff. I met people, whatever, blah blah blah. Sheep, that kind of stuff, wool, whatever. And right, we have this fantasy in our heads that some things are higher value than other things. And only if I'm doing those things will I achieve what I am destined to achieve. You know, Mediocrity is not for me. What is this mediocrity? I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about when you say mediocrity. I'm not sure what you're looking at. I don't see this. Um, right. I wanted to be a bricklayer rather than work in a office, you know, and a big thing that comes along with faith is gratitude. Wow, gratitude. That's so good. And gratitude is an interesting one because I thought I had experienced it before in my life. I hadn't. I hadn't. I was thankful at times. I was appreciative. But gratitude? No, gratitude is a state of being almost. It's really deep. Oh, fuck. Like just thank you. Thank you, And can we be grateful for these things in our life, these aspects that we can't love, this mediocrity, quote unquote, these oh, I'm not going to be improved, this is big like fucking myth in architecture that, your first job is like gonna determine your entire life. I hear this all the time. Yeah, I got to get the best first job because I was told that determines my entire life. That's crazy. You think about that? Yeah, this one decision determined my entire life. No, you determined your life. You said this is my entire life. No, you're wrong, you idiot. Stupid. We're stupid. Remember that you're dumb. Remember that your perspectives that you're learning are just tiny. And there's a much bigger, grander one that's just you can't even get there, you know? And and so this job's important just as architecture school was important. It's all equal. It's just one big plane, one big 10-dimensional plane. And yeah, oh shit, we've been on the slide for a while. Yeah, you know, it's not a big deal. It's all pretty chill actually. I do a lot of sitting and not much is going on, guys. And I guess I'll address this before. All right, then there's this big question of evil. Ah, yes, evil. Yes, the world is a horrible place. Horrible things happen in the world. And I don't pretend to know the answer to this, but I do have an understanding that helps me, um, which is because we're all one, right? That's the assumption. We're all one. Um, we're all one. So this evil is the same evil inside evil person. No one's ever called me evil. People think I'm pretty cool, actually. And but I know there's darkness in me. I experience it. I'm like, oh, well, you know. And so the world is you, and you're the world. And as long as you think you are evil, the world shall remain evil. And even though I assume the world is good, or that I am good and the world is good, there's still darkness that I'm dealing with. And these aren't easy things to deal with, but they come and they go, right? This is the main aspect of meditation. Things rise and they fall, and then they rise and they fall down. And it just goes on and on. And it's very tiring, and it's very easy to say, let's just get back to the drama, dude. Let's get back to the drama, baby. Let's just do architecture. Well, not just do architecture. Let's squabble and convince ourselves that these are the things that are important, and these are the things that the only thing and it's true in some respect that we can't do much, and we have to do something, right? You can't do nothing. It's impossible. I tried count the time. I mean, just tried all year almost. And we're almost done, guys. Don't worry. And just gotta find a good conclusion point, I guess. So what's the point of me saying this to you? I don't know. It's very possible that it doesn't resonate with anyone here. But these words are for someone, and it's also something you gotta keep in mind when you're making. We can come back to making, is that it's for someone. It might not be for you, but it is for someone. Everything resolves itself. Yeah, I was pretty interested in how this was going to turn out. I mean, pretty much just talking to myself. It's kind of crazy, actually. Feel pretty insane. Uh, I used to think I was insane in school before all this stuff. I was like, damn, I'm getting crazy. You know, it's nothing romantic for crazy or like deranged, the deranged artist or like, the sick, twisted artist or the artist in agony. Those days are done, guys. It's over. No one's interested in that anymore. It's it's played out and it's old and we have to be happy now. And if you're not happy, not happy. Happy is irrelevant too. If you're not loved, you are loved. I feel like there's a message in chat and Seth and it says, "Hey, dude, everyone's gone." And yeah, so have fun in school, guys. School's a great time. And learn how to have fun and all things. Be able to do everything the same way. It's all repetition. That's all it is. And just remind yourself of what you are. And a last note I'll say is this is a big process, right? What I'm talking about. And yeah, and the reason I usually like, make this more tangible is because or usually I start from the beginning, and I kind of explain how I came to this because we're all at different stages, we're all different notes. It's the same time, time. It's the same air, space, time. Um, but we're all in different notes. And so I'm not asking you to rush anything, to try to do anything. Just continue what you're doing, but do it a little bit lighter, right? Add a little lightness to it. If you remember anything, just remember what letting go is. Letting go is very similar to just breathing out. You know that feeling? It's like, oh, okay. And yeah, just do that over and over again. And yeah, it's gonna be good. And okay, this is enough. I think I've depleted myself enough for this. And yeah, we're done. Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah,
Classic.
classic Ian.